Welcome back to Something Awesome. I'm Zettovyker, and today we continue our Let's Play of Katawa Shoujo, Act 2, Castling with Hanako. Brought to you by Patrick Q, our narrator.
The smell of wine on her breath, the feeling of her fingertips through my clothing, the scent of her hair underneath my chin. My hands remain out in front of me, not daring to touch her. The temptation is there to hug her, to embrace her, to tell her everything will be fine. But this feels wrong. Really, really wrong.
Hanako. But I want to stay with you and Lilly.
Hanako's slurring reminds me a bit of Misha. She probably wouldn't be pleased to hear that.
You know I can't. You're a girl, and I'm a guy, after all. And Lilly needs to sleep.
She gives a disappointed groan. It's so strange for her to act so forward.
Don't worry, I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
I decide to rest a hand on her head to reassure her, deciding that this is as far as I'll allow myself to go in terms of physical contact with her while she's in this state. Hanako's head nuzzles against my chest. It makes me feel all the more uneasy with the situation, and as her arms tighten around my back, I quickly decide to bail out. I rest my hands on her shoulders and give a firm but gentle push. Her grip tightens a little as I do so, but she eventually breaks off.
I don't want you to go. Hanako, please. Akira and Lily are going to start thinking weird stuff if I take too long here.
It's perfectly true, though, too. I really don't want to take any chances, and I feel very uncomfortable right now. I shouldn't try to read anything into the way she's acting right now. I've read that aside from alcohol lowering inhibitions, people can react to getting drunk in many different ways that don't necessarily reflect reality. And even without that, there are plenty of ways to interpret what she's saying. As long as she's safe, I'm going to try to get out of her room as soon as possible. Hanako hiccups again, looking a right mess as she stands and looks downcast in the center of the room. Her personality changed as she drank more and more, and now, all alone in her room with me, her previous brightness seems to have left her. Was she just acting upbeat to make sure we didn't worry? Even if she was, what could I possibly do for her, since I do exactly the same thing in regards to my own condition? Distancing myself from my thoughts, I eventually managed to corral Hanako towards her bed, though her attempts to tame the wild sheets on it end up accomplishing a little.
Sorry about tonight, Hanako. I know you probably won't remember any of this, but happy birthday. I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you.
She looks up at me for a moment. I have no idea if what I said actually got through to her, but any chances to ask is lost as her eyes peacefully closes. I sigh in relief before quickly backing away from her and leaving the room, flicking the lights switch off as I go. I hesitate a little before opening the door to Lily's room again, quickly rehearsing what I should say if I get questioned about Hanako. After a few seconds, I still can't come up with anything. I open the door and make sure to close it behind me, lest any passing students catch a glimpse of the wine, before turning my attention to the two girls at the low table. Akira's casually smiling as is Lily. I welcome the change from the mood in Hanako's room.
Is that you, Hisao? Yeah, I got Hanako to your bed. She's sleeping now. That's good. I have to admit, I hadn't thought she had drunk quite so much. Hey, it's fine. She's all safe and tucked in bed now, with the way she is.
She awkwardly trails off, though Lily and I would partly protest. For someone so anxious and fearful, drinking would give an easy out from these constant feelings. I wish I could do more for her. I feel useless. Looking at Lily, I think back to what I asked myself in town. My relationships with her is that of a friend. and has only ever felt that way. But now I think I know why. Lily's been there for both Hanako and me since I first met her, but she's like that for everyone, trying to do her best to make them feel better. With that in mind, then what's the bond between me and Hanako? After rescuing our relationship following the panic attack I overtly triggered during class, I feel like we're back to being friends, but she's on my mind more and more. I can't say I view any other girl in quite the same way, but maybe it's just a normal reaction to someone acting like this.
Say, Akira,
She yawned before looking at me. It is getting pretty late.
you know about what happened with Hanako, don't you? Yeah, Lily told me. I negotiated pretty hard for a break so I could come down and help her with make birthday a bit lighter. We'd get along pretty well.
It's surprising to hear that from someone as extroverted as her, but if Hanako came to know her through Lily, maybe she had time to get used to Akira.
And on that note, I better get going. I'm already going to be a bit late as it is. But it's already so late. Sorry, we got a bunch of pit work dropped on us, so overtime it is.
She levers herself up with a grunt and heads past towards the door. Just before she leaves, she turns back towards us.
You haven't forgotten about the time for the flight and all the rest? Don't worry, I have everything ready. It's just a matter of packing when it gets closer to the time to leave. Atta girl. I'll see you later then.
And with that, she disappears through the door with her hand held high in farewell.
Your sister is something, alright?
I probably should have thought that comment through before saying it. Regardless, Lily seemed quite amused at my appraisal.
You okay after all that drinking? Not wasted and just hiding it well? I assure you, I'm quite alright. I can moderate myself. You seem quite self-possessed as well, if I do say so myself. Yeah, well, I guess your moderation applies to me as well.
With a little hesitation, I take a seat at the table in front of Lily. I want to address this directly, if for no other reason than to settle my own thoughts.
I've been meaning to ask this, but it took me a while to make up my mind. Do you have any idea what triggered that panic attack? I gathered it was something to do with her birthday, but I don't know anything more. Even Akira is being really careful around her, so I assume she knows as well.
Lily's smile drops. The gaiety of the birthday party now well and truly over.
To be honest, I'm not sure of all the details myself. Hanako told you that she was in a house fire. She told me as much after we met and spent a lot of time together. Other than that, she quite simply never told me. She never told you? Assuming the worst, what does she have to look back upon? A life of isolation and possibly even the death of her family? Maybe even going as far as blaming her existence for their deaths.
Even thinking about what a little I know of Hanako's past is bleak. To have lived through all that, and to live on with those memories, must be infinitely worse. Lily looks similarly depressed, but I can see her rebuild at least some of her composure before my eyes. I get the feeling that both of us are talking more frankly than we might otherwise do, thanks to the wine, but it feels like just talking this out in a good way is a good thing anyway.
I feel kind of helpless about it. When it's put like that, what can I possibly do for her? I'm not wholly sure I should tell you this, but Hanako told me that you visited her on the day after we both went to check on her. I must admit that I did not predict she would take such a step so quickly after what happened, nor did I expect you to. I think that was a nice gesture on your part. It wasn't much, really. It's just, at times like this, I sometimes think would be better if I had never had to leave Yamaku, or at least this town. Things are so much easier without others around.
I didn't expect Lily to look quite so troubled at what I say, and for a while she looks lost in thought. She moves to speak, but stops herself as soon as she does and rethinks. It's a bit off-putting.
I think. Tell me, do you have anything planned for Friday evening? Friday evening? No. Isn't your flight scheduled to Scotland the next day? I don't think we should get a. It would be a good idea to tire yourself up before you even get there. I'll be alright. You needn't worry about me. I do this tomorrow evening. I'd do this tomorrow evening, but I imagine Hanako will be feeling rather off for a while.
The thought of how she's going to be tomorrow makes me grimace. Maybe we should count her blessing that she didn't end up simply throwing up from drinking so much while having such a low tolerance.
Well, I'm going to be able to attend whatever you're planning. What is it? Nothing unusual, I assure you. Just a little excursion. And you better be off, Hisao. I can't imagine it's long at all until curfew is here.
Oh
Oh,
damn, curfew. I completely forgotten. I look at the clock next to Lily's bed, but it seems to be some oddity without written numerals, which I suppose makes sense given Lily's condition. Not wanting to risk a haughty security patrol giving me a scolding, I get up and decide to go to my dorm, as she says.
well then. I guess I'll see you in Hanako tomorrow. Assuming that both of you manage to get up in the morning. Thank you for your concern, Hisao. Until then.
With that, I make my way out of her door and into the hallway. I hope her deal will be a good one.
I hope you liked this episode, folks. If you did, leave your comments below, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to see the rest of the story. Until next time, see you guys later, and good night.